All right, so we have the 3, the 2, and now the 1. It's your man DJ Seko Varner, and I have the infamous, the controversial, the I don't know what to say. We got the Crumb Snatcher on with us tonight, and oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble. So from what I understand, you want to talk about Disney movies and hidden messages in Disney movies.
Yeah, not only Disney, but in cartoons as well. There was a lot of cartoons back in the day that had a lot of innuendos in them.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let's go on this trip. All right. So, give me some of the examples.
Well, I wanted to start with, let's go with Ninja Turtles. If you look at the good guys versus the bad guys, so the good guys were from the European Renaissance: Raphael, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Donatello. These were all people from the Renaissance. And if we look at the bad guys, they had a 80s hip hop theme. The bad guy was Bebop. The other bad guy was Rocksteady. When we're dealing with Bebop, that was Miles Davis. When we're dealing with Rocksteady, that was like the what was that? It was a group called
the Rocksteady Crew. Yeah, the Rocksteady Crew. Right, right.
So the bad guy is Rocksteady. So when I was a child, it kind of eluded me. But as an adult, I'm like, hold on. I'm seeing a theme.
So are you saying that it was a war between traditional classical art and modern art, traditional European based art versus modern indigenous, melanoid, African, whatever you want to say, based urban based art?
Yeah, and even though the good guys were green, they were clearly based off highly respected and accomplished Europeans of the Renaissance age. And the bad guys had a clear hip hop early 80s, mid 80s theme. If I could point out another one, when we looked at Thundercats, that was a big one when it comes to a lot of occult hidden science in there. So
okay.
When we looked at the whole idea of Thundercats. So now with Thundercats, the good guys was the Thundercats, and it had a real strong similarity to Superman. We know Superman planet had blew up, Krypton. It blew up, and he came to America. Well, with Thundercats, their planet blew up, and they came to Third Earth. So, because the Earth that we live on now is the third rock from the sun. So they had lost their planet, and they go to somebody else's planet.
Ooh, they were colonizers.
Colonizers!
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a new twist on it. Okay. But that makes sense. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Just like you were saying, you brought up indigenous. So when we look at Mum-Ra was indigenous. He was, Third Earth was his home. And when we look at Mum-Ra had a wide nose. Mum-Ra had dark skin, and Mum-Ra was flooded with Egyptian regalia. Flooded. Look at the pyramid.
Yeah.
So now Mum-Ra was the bad guy because he was trying to protect Third Earth. Now, in addition to that, with Mum-Ra, he was an avatar of the spirits from the past. A lot of people say today, oh, the ancestors are back. Well, what are they saying? They're saying that we are the avatars and the ancestors live through us. Same thing you saw with Mum-Ra. The ancestors had lived through Mum-Ra.
Ooh. So you're saying that these guys that made these cartoons was so deep that, well, you're not necessarily saying that. You're just saying that it's just some interesting similarities between.
Right, right.
You know, I did notice when I was a kid that he did wear a lot of African-inspired, Nubian and Kemetic or Egyptian-inspired attire. Wow.
A lot of and in terms of the Egyptian theme that they had, remember that the lion's lair had oddly resembled the Sphinx.
Yeah.
It really looked like the Sphinx.
Mm-hmm.
So Mun-Ra, he lived in a pyramid. He slept in a sarcophagus. He channeled the energy of his ancestors, and he was a protector. What was another one? Now, there were some bad guys who were kind of like minions under Mun-Ra. Now, there was Jackalman, Slith or Slythe, however you pronounce his name, and there was the Jackal, there was Vulture Man.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at these minions, they were all African-based animals. The jackal is indigenous to Africa.
Ooh.
The vulture was indigenous to Africa, and Slythe was a reptilian. I didn't mean to do anything. That's my wedding finger. He was a reptilian. Now, if you go back and watch that cartoon, the Vulture Man didn't talk to Mun-Ra. The Jackal Man didn't talk to Mun-Ra. The only one who talked to Mun-Ra was the reptilian. And when you're like, all right, Crumb, where are you going with this? When we look at the ancestors, they wore a serpent on their head. So the minion that was closest to Mun-Ra was the reptilian. What was another one? If I could veer away from Thundercats just a tad bit, because we did say that we want to talk about Disney. Disney, with these movies, they had a real dark undertone. Now, we have to understand who inspired Walter Disney. Walt Disney is short for Walter Disney. So who inspired Walter Disney? It was the Brothers Grimm. The Brothers Grimm were these two German European dudes. They didn't write the stories. They went all throughout Europe.
And they collected them.
They collected the stories.
Okay. Right.
So Walter Disney got his hands on those stories and he sanitized them, so to speak. So when we look at stories like Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
When we're looking at Beauty and the Beast, there's a really dark undertone to this movie. So you're like, okay, well, Crumb, I saw the movie and I enjoyed it. Well, I want to familiarize all of our listeners and watchers to a mental condition called Stockholm Syndrome. So, what is Stockholm Syndrome? Stockholm Syndrome is where the oppressor or the victim sympathizes with the victimizer to the point of falling in love. What does this have to do with the movie Beauty and the Beast? So Belle was the name of the girl of the beauty,
right?
And she was held prisoner by the Beast. In the movie, the Beast even said, "I'm not going to let you go until you fall in love with me to break the curse." So now she's held prisoner until she is fully subjected to Stockholm Syndrome.
Whoa, that's some R. Kelly stuff. No disrespect to R. Kelly. Actually, that was disrespectful. I'm sorry, man. The joke just fell out. Yo, man. Wow. So we have the roots here of a abusive relationship. Wow.
A very abusive
on the film, on the screen.
Yes. Now, if we analyze the movie Beauty and the Beast, she went insane to the point where she started talking to certain inanimate objects. She was talking to the candle, which was her guiding light. She was talking to She was talking to the teapot. The teapot had represented feminism. It was very curvy, Coke bottle shaped, or curvy like a woman, hourglass.
Mm-hmm.
And the teapot had a son, which was the teacup. So the teapot was fertile, so to speak. There was also the broom. So now the teapot represented her serving him. She had to serve him. She had to feed him. The light represented her guiding light. There was also a broom because she was a servant. She had to clean up his mess and so on and so forth. And there was also a clock. The clock was a man, Father Time, because she was held indefinitely. She had to clean up and she had to serve him. All elements of a slave. Now, the last point I want to point out that is most disturbing to me is not only Stockholm Syndrome, not only slavery, but bestiality. It's Beauty and the Beast. There's a strong undertone, or not even undertone. This is overt at this point. To break the curse, you must fall in love and kiss an animal to confirm that you truly love it.
Okay, so if I didn't do this at the beginning, I should probably say that this is not politically correct. It's probably not safe for work. He's been really nice so far, but he's probably going to get profane at some point. Yeah, this is one of those podcasts where you really need to make sure that the right people are listening and the wrong people are not listening. All right. Whoa, bestiality?
Bestiality. She had to kiss an animal in order to gain her freedom. Well, and let me just take the word kiss out, because we know that Walter Disney sanitized it. She had to perform a sexual act with an animal to gain her freedom. So, just putting it within that synopsis paints the whole picture within a different light, to where they've romanticized slavery. They've romanticized a mental condition of oppression. They've romanticized falling in love with an animal. And, I don't want to harp too much on that particular cartoon or movie, but, this is a Disney classic.
So now when I look at the Me Too movement, and I look at what you just shared with us, years ago, things were set in place for women to accept certain stratas and places in society based upon what they were exposed to. So now we have women saying, I can't leave, I couldn't leave, I felt trapped, I felt coerced into having, Tom Brokaw just got accused of doing a whole lot of sexual misconduct. Wow.
Art imitates life.
So what are we grooming our young ladies for?
And that's a sad reality. Now, in terms of grooming our young ladies, when I was a kid, my happily ever after was defeating the bad guy. Mm-hmm. For our girls, their happily ever after automatically ends by marrying a man. You cannot be happy. You cannot be complete. You cannot be a hero. You cannot get your happily ever after until you marry a man. Not saying anything's wrong with marriage, but, there was never that connection with the Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles beat the bad guy, they win. Like with Cinderella, she got away from her. Wait, was it Cinderella, the one who had the slipper? That was Cinderella, right?
Or is that Snow White? I can't remember.
I think Snow White was with the seven dwarfs. Cinderella.
It was Cinderella. Okay, all right. So, oh wow. So Cinderella gets away from a bad home life,
but that's not her
marrying up.
Her savior. You're absolutely right. My apologies, not to cut your wisdom. She, her happily ever after didn't end with her just getting away from her abusive stepmother, her wicked stepsisters. Her savior was a man. She had to get married almost all the time. I don't care what movie is, Snow White, Cinderella, The Princess and the Frog, or whatever that movie was called. For them to have their happily ever after, they had to get married to a man. No other way could they. Rapunzel's savior had, was somebody, who she had to marry. She, like, or matter of fact, let me think of another movie that, like Thundercats. When the Thundercats, their happily ever after was just defeating the bad guy. It was not based off them subjecting themselves to be, I've got to marry this person in order to have my happy ending.
Whoa, yeah. So we're giving very different messages, but I wonder if that's natural for women and men to respond to different energies.
And and if that's the case, nothing's wrong with that. However, our women need to know that they can be successful, they can be complete without having to marry a man. You can have a happy ending by just defeating the bad guy or defeating, whatever the opposition is. You have to get married in order to have a happy ending.
Okay. All right. Give me some more juice, man. Give me some more. What are some of the other movies or cartoons that had those type of messages in it? Because those are things I never picked up. I'm sure some of the feminists on steroids are picking up on this stuff as well. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay. In that regard,
Shea Butter Twitter, them sisters. One of them sisters has a good podcast I used to listen to. The Black Joy Mixtape. Them sisters, they probably have picked up on stuff like this. Okay.
I gotta check that out.
Black Joy Mixtape.
I may sound somewhat of a feminist in that regard because, they're like, oh well, ain't nothing wrong with a woman getting married, and I'm not saying that at all. Some people have often confused. A lot of people have often accused me of being a feminist, but I'm not. I'm just saying that when we compare the parallels of to his happily ever after to her happily ever after, his is just defeating the bad guy, hers is getting married. For her to defeat her bad guy, she has to have her savior. But
you know what? I'm wondering though if the message is for women to feel happy, they have to have a significant relationship, and for men to feel happy, they have to have a significant accomplishment.
Ooh.
So,
yeah.
That might be the message as well. I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong or the presentation was incorrect, but I'm just saying it's a multi-layered message there.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes too many of us go with the simple message or the message that suits our agenda. And, maybe because I'm more conservative, I see it as not a manipulation and forcing women into subjugation. I see the relationship piece and then you being more feministic, not feministic, but being more concerned with women moving to the highest heights, possibly more than me. I don't know. Maybe you would have seen it a different way. I don't know. But you're bringing up some good stuff, man. Keep it coming.
Well, and if I could beat that horse just a little bit before I move on, and I want to move on to Peter Pan. If I could beat that horse just a little bit, we don't really see a lot of movies where the woman, she gets to fight a bad guy and she wins just off the strength of her intelligence. She wins based off the strength of her wit or her cunningness. She had to win based off her beauty, based off her ability to attract a man, so on and so forth. And that's just me just giving my conclusive rationale of how this is suspect in terms of the portrayal of happily ever after or your happy ending.
Wow. Now, when I think of, let's say, Taraji P. Henson's recent movie, Proud Mary. Okay. All right. So, yeah, that was heat. And
Yes.
I'm a Taraji P fan. It's okay in the fan club. So her happy ever after, her ending wasn't beating up and shooting up the place and beating up. I mean, we all clapped when that happened, but it really solidified when she was able to develop a relationship with that young man. So the relationship was the icing on the cake for her.
Ooh. Right. Right. Touche. Touche.
All right, so let's then compare that with Black Panther.
Right.
Okay, so after T'Challa beat up Killmonger, the relationship was cool, but it didn't solidify him as the king. But Taraji was the woman or the queen when she was able to have the good relationship. I guess that's not a really good example because at the end of the movie, T'Challa was having. Okay, cool. At the end of the movie, T'Challa was having a connection with Oakland. He was having a relationship with his sister. Yeah, that might be a bad example, but I think your point is the happily ever after for men are accomplishments. The happily ever after for women are relationships. And in Disney films and some of the films you're pointing out, that relationship was a subversive, demeaning, encapsulating relationship. But that's never the case in the happily ever after with the males.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
It's just, of course, my interpretation. Some people may
Right.
see it different.
Yeah. I mean, because some people are going to look at you as a little out there.
Now, let's say, for argument's sake, the family's following me, and they're like, Crumb, you're right and exact. I feel you 1,000%. If that's the case, I'm about to really reach a little bit on this next one.
Okay. Well, knowing your supporters, man, they follow you 100%. Yo, so salute on all the video watches, the views that you're receiving. I think your GoFundMe went pretty well. Yeah, I mean, you're doing it, man. I'm proud of you, very proud of you. We often end up on different not platforms, but different viewpoints. But go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
And I want to segue that into a drastic viewpoint. Let's talk about Peter Pan. All right. So
let me sip the tea on that. With my superhero cup.
Very fitting. Very fitting.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead.
So Peter Pan. Now, I can't help but to notice his last name is Pan.
Ooh. Okay. Picked up on that. Go ahead.
So for the family who haven't made the connection just yet, I'm going to spill the beans. Pan was a demigod from Greek mythology who was he was like, the top of him was a human, the bottom of him was like a goat. He had goat horns, and he played what they call Pan's pipes.
A pan flute, right.
Right, a flute. Now, Pan was known for being very sexual. He was a horny goat, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Peter Pan, I would theorize that he was a homosexual pedophile, kidnapper. Peter Pan would kidnap children and take them to Never Never Land. And upon puberty, he would off them. The first child to ever get away from Peter Pan was Captain Hook, who did escape, but not without losing his hand in the process. Captain Hook not only escaped, but he pulled a Harriet Tubman where he goes back and saves other children. These children have the ability to mature, and they are on Captain Hook's ship, and they go on an unthinkable mission to escape Never Never Land. Now, Captain Hook wasn't afraid of Peter Pan because he had defeated him several times over. However, if we look at the movie, Captain Hook was afraid of the alligator, not because it was a beast, but because it had a clock inside. Now, we must remember in Never Never Land, nobody gets old. That's what Peter Pan told you, but he was a liar. People do get old because we see Captain Hook there. So clearly they get old. So now Captain Hook is proof that Peter Pan lied to saying, oh, nobody gets old. We don't grow in Never Never Land. Mm-hmm. If you don't grow in Never Never Land, how is Captain Hook an adult? Captain Hook was a child, because you can only get to Never Never Land with Peter Pan initiating you. So clearly Captain Hook got there when he was a child. Clearly Peter Pan was lying because Captain Hook is an adult and there's plenty of adults on his boat. Now, Captain Hook was afraid of the clock because time was getting away from Hook. Because we're dealing with symbology. You know, it wasn't...
Before you go any further, where in the story was Captain Hook ever under the auspices of Peter Pan?
Well, we have to remember where the story takes place. Now, the book versus the story, you know, there's a different time span. So where the book will show you the complete time span, the movie only covers a short amount of time.
Okay.
So the movie comes in towards where the book I would say, close to the ending. You know, if I can get away from the book, from the movie just a little bit and not analyze the book, but analyze the author. Because Peter Pan was not written by Brothers Grimm. Peter Pan was written by a homosexual pedophile person over in Europe. This was a boy. This was a man. When he was 12, his older brother had died. I think he drowned in a lake or something like that. The mother had developed some type of, she kind of lost it. Now, this is the author of the original book that the movie was based off, since we're talking about the book now. So the author, his mother would dress him up in his brother's clothes so that, you know, she could feel a connection to her lost son, which you would have to understand what type of psychological ramifications would that have on this child. You're wearing your dead brother's clothes? That's a little creepy, Mom.
Wow.
So now this boy, who's the author of the movie, of the book Peter Pan, he grows up. And when he grows up, he has this relationship with his family. And the family has 3 sons. And the youngest son, his name is Peter. This is in real life. This is not the movie. This is in real life. This story motivated Walter Disney to make this movie. So now, the author of the book Peter Pan, he has this relationship, and this family is not his family. They're no blood to him. They're just, you know, people he knows. So he develops a peculiar and somewhat disgusting relationship with the boys. And there are letters that are still available where he wrote to the boys. And if you review these letters, they seem a little bit too personal, you know. Because he's not any blood to them, he's not any relation. So his affinity with these 3 boys, especially the youngest, whose name is Peter, is very borderline pedophile, if not overtly pedophile. Like, for me, just to be respectful, I'm gonna say it was borderline. But to the average person who were to read these letters, they'd be like, "Oh no. Nah, he could not write that letter to my baby." Excuse me. You already know I'm coming out with it.
It's gonna happen.
If that nigga would have write that letter to my baby, nah, lock his ass clean, put his ass under the jail. Something wrong with his ass. So now this story, this book, and the backstory motivates Walter Disney to make this movie. So now, you know, we got some insight as far as the background and how creepy the undertones of this inspiration is. So
So
Am I reaching?
is his book sowing the seeds of rape culture that we're experiencing now in today's America?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think if anyone were to really take a good look at the author of the book, Peter Pan, and his relationship with those three boys, they would come to it would easily, like, oh, well, some people who have not looked at it and only watching this video would maybe say Crumb is reaching. But if you were to actually do your research and look into this dude, they'd be like, oh no, he had a sexual relationship with those children, and that's what motivated him to write that book in the first place. The book was inspired by a pedophile homosexual. And then the guy's name is Pan, and we know the Greek god or demigod Pan is a pervert, with all due respect.
Oh, that's respectful. Okay. Wow.
So,
Wow. Okay.
and if I could bring this up, now, if I haven't lost the people, I think I'm about to lose them with this next point. It's important to note that a lot of conspiracy theorists, because, I don't call myself a conspiracy theorist, but some people may call me that, and I'll take it. I'll take it. So now, Walter Disney was suspended in animation. I don't know, that's what people say. He was suspended. They call it cryogenics. They had freezed him in ice.
Mm-hmm.
This is what people say. There's no evidence. I don't have any evidence, but I've heard through the grapevine. Take this with a grain of salt to all of the listeners. He was suspended in animation, and they froze him in ice, or some type of, whatever. And they're waiting for technology to come, and they'll thaw him out and reanimate Walter Disney. So, the guy who was famous for creating animation was suspended in animation. I find that to be very interesting. Another point I wanted to make: Walter Disney had a close relationship with Von Braun. I think I got to look his name up. Walter Disney Nazi. Matter of fact, can I share my screen real quick, brother?
Share the screen.
Okay, here we go. Share screen. And here we go. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Are you familiar with Hitler's book? It was called Mein Kampf.
Yes.
Right. Now, there was a depiction of Donald Duck in a Nazi propaganda film, displaying Walter's close affinity with Nazi Germany. A lot of people will tell you that Walter Disney was associated with Nazis and Hitler. Now, a lot of us may be familiar with Operation Paperclip. Let's just look this up really quickly. So, Operation Paperclip was a secret intelligence program that brought Nazi scientists to America. Now, which Nazi scientist was the most famous of them all? Hold on. Operation Paperclip, von Braun. I think that's his name. Let me see if I got it right. Yeah, okay, I'm good. Von Braun. So you can see here, this man is Von Braun. Now I'm going to erase Operation Paperclip, type in Von Braun, Walter Disney. So now we're going to see a connection between Operation Paperclip, the Nazi rocket scientist, Von Braun, there he is right there. And who's beside him? Walter Disney. So when I say that this guy had a unusual relationship with these Nazis. I want to draw a connection with Operation Paperclip, of where the Nazi scientists or rocket scientists came over to America, and who took a particular interest in these Nazis. None other than what's this boy name? Walter Disney. So I think here's a meme. I've never read this. Bear with me. It says Walt Disney and ex-head of NASA. Werner von Braun, both 33-degree Masons. Werner von Braun had met Walter Disney to enlist his help in faking the 1969 Apollo 11 moon landing. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. And it says Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think that was a line from one of their movies. Mm-hmm. And let me see one more point, and then I'm going to get back to Walter Disney. Von Braun on moon set. There he is. Von Braun, the Nazi rocket scientist, on the set of where it was supposedly that this moon landing was to take place at. A lot of people propose that this never happened. And if we take a deeper look into it, because Disney is where these where dreams are made. So when they sell us a dream, we have to understand who's really behind it. Not only was it Nazis, but it was Walter Disney. Now, when we're dealing with cryogenics, it was von Braun who supposedly was the one who assisted with putting Walter Disney on ice. Putting Walter Disney in suspended animation. So when I say, there's a lot of funny business associated with Walter Disney, it's not just Beauty and the Beast. It's not just Peter Pan. It's not just, these movies, that are anti-feminist, so to speak. But, there's a lot of, Walter Disney is really an enigma shrouded in mystery, covered in questions. There's a lot of, what was really going on with this dude, when we truly investigate, what his inspirations were, what his aspirations were. I'll let you, if you wanted to add anything to that.
I'm learning. I'm just learning. Yeah, you've gone a lot deeper in some of this information than I've ever been exposed to. Yeah. And it really blew my mind. Now, the other thing I had wanted to talk about, so here's a fake picture of the globe, and as we can see, it supposedly spells sex. Now, another thing with these Disney movies is there are a lot of sexual innuendos in these movies. Sex innuendos in Disney movies. So let's see what we can come up with. Now, this one may be a little bit reaching. I'm not going to reference that one, but here's one. It's just a little bit suspect. There's a sexual innuendo, or it's a very suggestive whatever. Where's the other one? I wish I could get this one by itself, but within the Disney Tower, if you look closely, you can see a penis inside the castle. There's a penis in there. Let me see if I can see it better. Well, you can kind of see it in this one. So what they're doing in these Disney artists is, I'm sorry, and just like we saw within that, let me see, can I find it again really quickly, follow me. So now we see sex right here within the actual fake picture of the globe. This is an official NASA image that is fake. Now, how do I know this is a fake picture of Earth? Because if we look at space, we don't see any stars. Space has no stars in it within this picture. That's a fake picture. That's a CGI. So now, bear with me. So now when we look at
that scene within Lion King, there it is
Right.
again. There it is again. Sex. So there's a lot of sexual innuendos within a lot of this Disney movies. I'm sorry, a lot of these Disney movies. So let me see what movie this is. Let me see, can I move this? I'm not sure what movie this is, but this dude has a boner. If you see that in a circle, he has a boner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me see what I can see here. Oh, well, that's highlighting a different movie. That's not really sexual, but there's a lot of these sexual innuendos in these movies, and I'm trying to see if anyone just really sticks out. But nonetheless, there's a lot of that. Okay, here we go. Disney sexual references. And, I didn't make this up. I'm just pulling it up off the fly as I talk to you. I didn't even really prepare a PowerPoint presentation. If anybody knows Crumb, they know I love PowerPoint presentations. I could have prepared something for you, but this is off the fly. And off the fly, with no research, it's relatively easy to see I'm not the only one who has drawn a connection to a lot of these kids' movies that hide sexual innuendos throughout the whole thing. So, I just want to bring that point to the people to let them know, it's not Crumb reaching. It's really there. It's definitely there. I wish I could find some more. But nonetheless, you get the picture. I'm gonna take it off the share. Give me 2 seconds because I want to, bring it back to you and me. So,
Wow, that's. Whew, what are we subjecting our children to, man?
Are you familiar with Professor Griff? He was one of the
Yeah,
members
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. I know,
Public
Griff.
Enemy.
I know. We brought him down to Hampton Roads a couple of times.
So maybe they're not familiar with Crumb. Maybe Crumb is not, because some people, you got to have a degree, you got to have a name, you got to be popular. And Crumb may not just be that person that you're going to listen to. But if you go and not reference, but go and research Professor Griff does a lot of, uh, he has a lot of lectures where he talks about how these movies will, what they'll do is they'll draw a, matter of fact, my apologies. I just want to share my screen one more time.
Go ahead.
I have to show you this. I have to show you this because, I learned this myself from Professor Griff. Oh, come on. Follow me. I'm going to go to videos. I'm going to go to Profe, Professor Griff Disney. So, let's see what, nope, that's not the one I want. My apologies. Almost ready. Professor Griff. Here we go. Well, I don't think this is Professor Griff, but Professor Griff references this.
Images in Disney films. The most infamous is the penis-shaped tower on the VHS cover of The Little Mermaid. But I'll bet you didn't see the other cog hidden on that box. Guess what?
Boom. You see that? Can you see that penis that it looks like he has?
Are you sure that was in the movie?
It's on the crab. People will tell you the priest in The Little Mermaid, he had a boner. But how did everyone miss Dumbo's dick? The Lion King, it spells sex in the sky. That's debatable. But check out just a few frames later. Is that debatable? There's no two ways about it. Disney's hiding dicks in their flicks. And most people don't catch them. It's very subtle.
Do you see a penis right there, brother?
I do.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
The way they sneak them in. And in every single Disney movie, I'm finding dicks.
What I want to show you, I want to fast forward real quick. I'm going to turn the audio off. I'm just going to fast forward. So now what they'll do, as you can see here, they'll draw a penis and then they'll hide it in plain sight and draw the character. And this is going on, Professor Griff was the one who brought this to my attention. So there's a woman's vagina, and they're keeping drawing, they're drawing, and now they change it into something innocent. But what we must understand is that the subconscious mind, or what we call the third eye don't blink. The third eye is picking up on these sexual innuendos. The best place to hide something is in plain sight. So, though, we think, oh, that was just an innocent cartoon character. If you look closely, you'd be like, hold on. Is there a penis hiding in there? Is there a vagina hiding in there? So this guy who I've showed connections to Hitler. I've showed where, he's perpetuating Stockholm syndrome. He's perpetuating bestiality. He's hiding these sexually charged images inside the cartoons. Art imitates life. They're pushing these things, but what is the worst thing? They're pushing it on the kids. This is not Family Guy. This is not American Dad. This is geared towards your 4-year-old. Are you following me, family? This is the type of sick, evil genius that we're dealing with in terms of Hollywood, or what I like to call Hollyweird. These are some weird people who you and I couldn't conceive this type of thing because, we operate from a pure place. But when we're dealing with these people, this is what comes out of their psyche.
Wow.
It's disturbing at best. It's disturbing.
All right. So we have 5 minutes left, brother.
Okay.
Bring us home.
Well, with that said, in conclusion, Disney is a sick, demented, and twisted organization. It's a conglomerate. Keep in mind, Disney owns probably your trash company, and they're perpetuating a sick and vile agenda to our family at an adolescent stage. Keep in mind also, last point, Disney is the home of LGBT. The first gay parade was at Disney in Orlando. I did want to do a plug really quickly for myself. I am your brother, Crumb Snatcher. I'm on Facebook, just Crumb Snatcher. I'm on Instagram, Crumb_Snatcher_, and I'm on YouTube. I did a video called Decoding Black Panther. It got more than 250,000 views. So I have my own URL. It's youtube.com/Crumb Snatcher. I decode, I decipher, I do breakdowns. And as you have called me, I'm what did you say I was? Super conscious?
It's like you're woke on steroids.
Woke on steroids.
Steroid woke. That's what I said.
If you want to follow Crumb, what you should expect is woke on steroids. I'm just looking at everything we've seen, in terms of entertainment, in terms of real life, and just really looking to see if there's something behind it. A lot of people may not have put that connection there, even with the Nazis. So just to be mindful and to pay attention to what these people have put on this box that we call the TV. It is one of the most strongest and dangerous mediums that we're dealing with, and it's right inside of our home, and we have no idea at the extent that they've gone to make an impression on our children.
Wow. You just taught me some new stuff today, brother. I picked up on some of the stuff, but the depth in which you went into it is admirable. I'm telling you, bro, I'm just blown away. So yeah, if you're interested in this super wokeness, this woke on steroids, drinking coffee type woke, Crumb Snatcher is the way to go. Thank you for being on the Fly Guy Show, man, where we discuss fly things in a fly manner, on the fly. Stay fly. That's my way of saying peace. Oh man.